Oh, let's talk about Dana White fucking at the press conference getting pressed about the Boxing Reform Act. Dana got pressed about this Boxing Reform Act, bro. I've never seen anything like this in my life.
Good evening, everybody. A couple questions for Dana. Dana, this fight, as you said earlier in the week, is set to be the third highest gate in combat sports history, the second biggest gate you've promoted alongside Mayweather-McGregor.
Remember this face right here. This man is a living legend. Living legend.
The top 5 gates in combat sports history come in boxing, and they come in the last 10 years. So my question to you is, why then do you want to make sweeping changes to the Muhammad Ali Reform Act that is meant to protect fighters to bring about a business model that currently has your company already paid out $375 million in antitrust lawsuits and has 2 potential pending class action lawsuits on the way as well?
I mean, it's a great question. It's a great question. Dana's business model has already been sued by class action lawsuits, paying out whatever it is, $275 million. He's got one more, that's playing out right now, and I think one more just recently started that hasn't gone through too much litigation yet. And that same business model he thinks is like correct to bring it to boxing, right? And he's actually trying to reform the Muhammad Ali Act to deploy that business model, because without the Muhammad Ali Act, he can't do shit. He's just like a fucking guppy in a Shark Tank, So the Muhammad Ali Act basically brings everybody down to guppy level, if you will. It honestly, some of it doesn't make sense, the Muhammad Ali Reform Act. Like, so what? If Dana gets this passed, like, there's not another promoter that can come in and do his thing too? Like, somehow Dana's going to own the UBO? Like, why doesn't anybody else own the UBO? Why does Dana get to own it? But here we go, nonetheless.
Well, this is obviously a long discussion. If you want to talk to me about that, set up an interview. This isn't about me and my business. It's about these 2 guys on Saturday night.
My father.
It's a simple question. Why do you think that this is going to better boxing? If the biggest pay-per-views have happened in the last 10 years, why do you think your business model is going to come in and make it all better? Boxing's doing fine without you.
Follow up, Dana. Earlier this week, the California State Athletic Commission had a hearing about TKO trying to bring those changes to the Ali Act, and it was postponed 3 months.
Listen, I get it. You want to show.
Unanimously ruled against it, by the way. Everybody who fucking called in, they all were not in favor, except for one person, I believe. I don't even think it was except for one person. I think they're all not in favor.
Oh, right.
Andy Foster wanted to end the call early because he said, like, we got enough fucking no's already.
Now, set up an interview with me if this is really what you want to talk about.
It's America, baby.
If you have questions for these 2, ask them and you can set up an interview with me.
Dana, my follow-up is, if TKO can't make those changes to the Ali Act, will you still invest in the sport of boxing? Will you compete in the market?
Listen, if you want to be an asshole, let's do it.
Now, name calling is unnecessary. The big question, though, if you can't reform the Muhammad Ali Act, will you still compete in the market? The answer is no, because the market is paying out, $100 million paydays, and Dana doesn't pay that. That's what the market is in boxing, and that's why Dana wants to bring in the Muhammad Ali Reform Act, because he doesn't pay that type of money.
Private, and we can do an interview.
Yes or no?
If you want to showboat, I get it. If you have questions for these 2 that are fighting on Saturday, that's a different story.
Fight.
This isn't a discussion to have at a press conference for these 2 that are going to fight on Saturday, 2 legends.
I mean, it is a boxing press conference. It's a boxing question. You're entering the game as a promoter. This is the first event you're promoting.
If you want to set up an interview with me and ask me these questions, let's do it one-on-one.
You probably won't do the interview, though, Dana. You don't do interviews like this. That's why this fucking question is being asked to you at a fucking, you know what I'm saying? boxing press conference. And it needs to be said, Turki Alalshikh, you know, this is karma too for trying to suppress BoxingScene. Don't ever suppress the media, okay? BoxingScene better be credentialed to every event moving forward. And this is what you get. You're not going to suppress shit, Turki. Turki tried to suppress BoxingScene. We'll talk about that too in a little bit. But, you know, you suppressed one media outlet. Well, here's another one coming for your fucking throats.
And you can ask me anything you want.
All right. Well, Terrence and Saul, have a good fight.
Yeah, you have a question for these two?
No.
No? Beat it. Go ahead. Who's next?
We have a ring in the...
Sean Zittel is his name. Sean Zittel. 100 million plus. So Canelo's getting over 100 million. That's crazy numbers. Over 100 million. See, Dana doesn't pay that. That's what the Boxing Reform Act's trying to do. Dana's basically coming in saying fighters get paid too much money. And, you know, I want to make it so that it's one belt. And I'll pay the guys what I think I should pay them. It's crazy. Like, who are you? I don't think it's going to work, to be honest.
Good evening, everyone.
Well, Louis, to answer your question, right? Dana thinks like this. Dana actually is thinking, instead of the boxers at the top getting paid all the money, I want to disperse it to all the fighters because journeymen in MMA get paid, you know, have made millions, a.k.a. Jim Miller, right? Journeymen in the UFC had made millions. Journeymen in boxing would never touch that type of money. So Dana thinks that it should be distributed lower to the card. But I honestly don't get it. Like, okay, so what if Dana, like, if the Reform Act goes through, because Dana proposed it, he gets to own the UBO? I don't know how that works. Like, I feel like, you know, nobody should own that shit. Max Kellerman absolutely glazing Dana and his fucking Boxing Reform Act and shit. And Canelo had to call him out on it real quick.
It is the greatest and then Dana White. Dana White is the greatest combat sports promoter in my lifetime.
Wipe your mouth, Max, because you got you know, slobber all over it from you know, having Dana's nuts in your mouth.
He built an institution. You know why boxing's not as popular as it used to be anymore, right? UFC is really popular. That's because of Dana White. He built something like the NBA. Stop now, because he's about to do it for boxing again. For boxing now. You want an NBA or an NFL in boxing? Hear it.
No, we don't. Honestly, we fucking don't. Get the fuck out of here, dude. This is for the streets. The underground. We fucking run this shit. Everybody always comes running back to us because this is the fucking juice. We hold all the cards. Combat Sports holds all the cards. We don't give a fuck about anything else. UFC included. UFC ain't no fucking NFL. UFC is the fucking streets, bro. Dog sport, bro. Fuck the NFL, NBA type shit. We don't want that. We don't want to be on fucking TV with, like, you know, all these fucking advertisers telling us what the fuck to do. Nah, dude. We fucking, everybody comes crawling to us because this is the juice. Fucking talking about the NFL, NBA like they're better than us. Get the fuck out of here. Wait a minute. Canelo's gonna say the same shit I'm saying.
Comes because he knows how to build an institution. And how do you do that?
Hey, Max. Boxing is always bigger and big. Don't say boxing is not big enough. Boxing is big. You know how big is boxing.
Should it get big?
Everybody talks about fighters. Everybody. NBA players, they don't talk about fucking baseball players. They talk about fighters. Baseball players, they don't talk about fucking NBA players. They talk about fighters. Boxing's always been big, bro. We don't need shit from anybody.
Yes or no? Should it get bigger, Canelo?
Yeah, maybe it's gonna be bigger, but look, boxing is always big and big and bigger and bigger and bigger. We need to talk about that too.
This is the hottest take you'll hear, right? Boxing's better than MMA. Boxing's got better stars, okay, than MMA has. They got more stars. They sell more, right? They got bigger pay-per-view sales, right? Fighters get paid more. I had another point too. The media in boxing is better. You know, the swag in boxing is 10 times. Boxing has live performances, all kinds of shit. The only argument against boxing is that people just tune into the main events and the co-main events. Okay. Yeah, no, and they don't hide that for shit. Nobody says tune into the other shit. You know what I mean? That's the norm here. We don't gotta tune into the early fights unless you want to. And we do turn into some of the early fights. You know, Kermel's on earlier in the card. We watched that shit. So, the biggest complaint about boxing is that, they have, like, lackluster early cards. Nobody watches the prelims. I don't give a fuck. They don't tell me to watch the prelims. You know what I mean? There's no advertising going on. Nobody's tripping. That's my hot take, bro. Boxing, if you look at it, not from an entertainment standpoint, I will say UFC is a lot more entertaining for my eyes, and I like the soap opera in the UFC. But I'm just saying, when you look at UFC and you look at boxing, comparing some of the key factors like financials, media, some of that stuff. Star power. I think boxing takes the cake on star power. Takes the cake on media, and takes the cake on money, obviously.
Boxing is boxing.
I love Canelo in English, by the way. I love
Boxing
it.
is boxing.
No lies.
Max Kellerman, I love Canelo in English, by the way. Hey, don't deflect, brother. Don't deflect. We don't, you know what I mean? Let Canelo speak his fucking English. We just said boxing is boxing. It's always been big. We don't need all this shit like you're saying we do.
No comparison.
how do you do it?
Comparison there.
So how do you
no
do it?
comparison, he said.
You have someone like...
My respect for all of their sport. Great job, everything, but boxing is boxing.
There's no comparison, and there never will be. There never will be. Get that straight, Max Kellerman. I don't know where that came from. I don't know where all that glazing with Max Kellerman came from. It's like, dude, how much are they paying you? You're like a journalist. You're not supposed to be getting paid by Turkey or Dana. You're supposed to be getting paid by Netflix, okay, if you're going to be taking money. And, there's no need for you to suck on Dana's balls. There's literally no need for you to do that. Like, who asked you to do that? That has nothing to even do with this event. You're supposed to be hyping up this event. You're hyping up Dana White. Hype up the damn event, Max Kellerman. Accredited media outlet BoxingScene has been denied credentials to Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford by Turkey's Riyadh season. So here it is. In case you haven't inferred it yet, BoxingScene was denied accreditation for Canelo Crawford on Saturday. Lance Pugmire, 2022 recipient of the Boxing Writers Association of America, Nat Fletcher Award for Career Excellence, a journalist who has covered boxing professionally for more than 20 years for such outlets as the LA Times, USA Today, The Athletic, who won a first-place prize just last year in the BWAA's annual Bernie Award writing competition, one of 3 first and 18 overall placements for BoxingScene in 2024, had his credential request as a writer for BoxingScene turned down, according to a representative of Dana White's TKO Boxing, one of the co-promoters of the event in conjunction with Riyadh Season and Sella. Initially, Pugmire was approved, but less than 2 weeks out from the fight night, the approval was reversed. So just to look at this article, it's actually a super lengthy article, so we're not going to read like all of it, but I'll read the most important stuff. Here's more to it. So people are kind of wondering, like, okay, so is the UFC the one? Like, because Dana's promoting the event, so did like UFC fucking block out media? And they're insinuating, they don't fully say it was Riyadh Season and Turkey, but they basically insinuate it, and you'll see here. BoxingScene editor Matt Christie subsequently reached out to Chris Belidi, UFC's vice president of corporate communications, to ask why, also calling attention to Pugmire's sterling reputation in the industry and BoxingScene's standing as a prominent BWAA accredited outlet. Belidi responded last Tuesday that he would quote-unquote look into it and circle back. On Monday, Belidi wrote back, I don't have specific details, but the denial does not appear to be coming from the TKO side. With an event as complex as this, there are multiple stakeholders involved that have a say in the credentialed media. For example, main event boxer, Canelo, or Riyadh season. One of those relationships may be strained, but I don't have the backstory. Yes, suffice to say, one of those relationships is strained. This is the treatment BoxingScene receives when it comes to events handled by Turki Alalshikh's Riyadh season or promoted under the banner of The Ring, the 103-year-old media outlet Al-Sheikh bought last November. My colleague Tris Dixon wrote about it in some detail in April after our website's credential applications for the first Chris Eubank Jr. Conor Benn fight went unacknowledged. The response from Belidi is very similar to those received from other promoters when they have been associated with Riyadh season events to which BoxingScene has not been welcome. Not our decision. So, you know, BoxingScene's trying to get credential to Chris Eubank Jr. Conor Benn. It got ignored, so no response. And apparently they probably reached out for comment too to the promoter. And the promoter said, it's not us. You know what I mean? And there's other people attached to this, like Riyadh season and shit. So last time BoxingScene was credited or credentialed for a Riyadh season or ring event, whether a fight card or a press conference, was for Crawford's last bout prior to facing Canelo on August 3rd, 2024 in LA. For 13 months and counting, BoxingScene, which has been owned since February 2024 by ProBox TV promoter Gary Jonas, has been frozen out of anything connected to Al-Sheikh and the Saudi General Entertainment Authority. No other promoter has denied BoxingScene access. This happens only when Riyadh season is involved, and that represents half the story when it comes to Al-Sheikh's enterprises and potential suppression of dissent. So it goes on to say that, you know, last November, Turkey bought The Ring magazine, and he said it was going to be an independent news outlet, and it turns out he's been suppressing his writers and shit like that, basically making sure that they don't write about his events or anything related to him in a negative fashion. And BoxingScene says they spoke with writers for The Ring magazine who were employed during the Golden Boy era when Oscar De La Hoya owned it, and Oscar De La Hoya welcomed and fully communicated that he understands writers have a job to do, and he welcomed any criticism, any negative commentary about his events, his fighters, or him. So Turki Alalshikh is not doing that. He's super, like, you know, uncomfortable with negativity or criticism coming his way. And it just shows he's not fit for this, bro. You can't just come in and buy shit. You got to understand how this game works. It's called ethics. Writers have a job to do. They must tell the truth. They must call it fucking down the middle as they see it.